Hello everyone. In today's lecture, I'll be dealing with the offense affecting human body, culpable homicide and murder, which is dealt under section 299 and 300 of the Indian Penal Code. 99, which is the definition of culpable homicide. It states that whoever causes death by doing an act with the intention of causing death or with the intention of causing such bodily injury as is likely to cause death or with the knowledge that he is likely by such act to cause death commits the offense of culpable homicide. Further, coming to the explanations, the first explanation states that a person who causes bodily injury to another who is laboring under disorder, disease, or bodily infirmity and thereby accelerates the death of that other shall be deemed to have caused his death. The second explanation states that where the death is caused by bodily injury, the person who causes such bodily injury shall be deemed to have caused the death, although by resorting to proper remedies and skillful treatment, the death might have been prevented. And the third explanation states that the causing of death of the child in the mother's womb is not homicide, but it may amount to culpable homicide to cause the death of a living child if any part of the child has been brought forth, though the child may not have breath or even completely born. Homicide is killing of the human being. It is either lawful or unlawful. When I'm talking about lawful homicide, it is also known as simple homicide and includes several cases falling under the general exceptions. The death caused in falling of the vase would be considered as the simple homicide, that is the lawful homicide. Where the death is caused by accident or misfortune or without any criminal intention under section 80, it will be considered as the lawful homicide. Where the death is caused by justifiable, that is to say that the person who is bound or by mistake of fact in good faith believes himself to be bound by law to do anything under section 76, under section 77 by a judge while acting judicially, when acting judicially in the exercise of power which is or which in good faith he believes to be given to him by law. Then comes under section 78 by a person acting in pursuance of the judgment or the order of a court of justice. By section 79 by a person who is justifiable by reason of mistake of fact, in good faith believes himself to be justifiable by law. Under section 81 by a person acting without criminal intention to cause harm and in good faith for the purpose of preventing or avoiding other harm to person or property. Under section 100 and 103, where the death is caused in excuse in exercise of the right of private defense of person or property, where the death is caused by child or a person of unsound mind or intoxicated person, that is under section 82, 83, 84 and 85 of IPC, where the death is caused unintentionally by an act done in good faith for the benefit of the person killed, when he is a minor or lunatic by his guardian and expressly expressed his consent to such an act under section 87 and 88, or under by section 89, where it is impossible for the person killed to signify his consent, where he is incapable of giving the consent and has no guardian from whom such consent can be obtained. So if these things that come under the general exceptions, if the death is caused under those things, then it will be counted as the lawful homicide. Coming to unlawful homicide, unlawful homicide is the first kind of unlawful, culpable homicide is the first kind of unlawful homicide, as it can be seen from the definition. If the death is caused by doing an act with the intention of causing death, or an act with the intention of causing such bodily injury as is likely to cause the death of the person, or an act with the knowledge that it was likely to cause death. Further to the conditions or to the ingredients of section 299, first is that there must be a death of a person. Second, the death must have been caused by the act of another person. When I'm saying causes death or the death of a person has to take place, in order to hold a person liable, there must be a death taking place of a human being. The word human is being defined under section 46 of the code. Okay. The causing of death of the child as stated under explanation 3, who is in the mother's womb and not born, would not be counted as homicide. But the person would not be set free, he will be punishable under causing miscarriage from section 312 to 315 of the IPC, depending upon the injury that he has done. The act of causing death amounts to culpable homicide if any part of the child, according to the explanation 3, if any part of the child has been brought forth, though the child may not have breath or been completely born. The clause, though the child may not have breath, suggests that the child may be born alive, though he may not have breath or respire, or it may respire so imperfectly that it may be difficult to obtain clear proof that the respiration has taken place. Causing of death must be of a living human being, which means that the living man or a woman or a child and at least partially an infant under the delivery or the child just being delivered. These people would be coming under the word living human being. The next ingredient or the condition is the act causing death must be with the intention of causing death. Here you need to pay attention to the case law of Reva Ram versus state of Madhya Pradesh, where the victim, that is the wife of the accused, who was caused multiple injuries by her by using a knife. Okay, she was being treated in a hospital and further operated. Later, she was diagnosed with a disease due to which she succumbed to death. The body was postmortem and the result was that the death was not the actual cause of injury, but it was due to the disease that she was suffering. Here you need to pay attention to explanation 2 of section 299, which states that where death is caused by bodily injury, the person who causes such bodily injury shall be deemed to have caused the death, although by resorting to proper remedies and skillful treatment, the death might have been prevented. On the basis of this, the High Court of Madhya Pradesh relied on it for the better understanding, and hence the court opined that though the injuries were not a direct cause of death, but were a part reason to the occurrence of her death, and held the accused responsible, and conviction took place on the grounds of explanation 2 of section 299. Further, with the intention of causing such bodily injury as is likely to cause death, or with the knowledge that such act is likely to cause death. This section adopts a view wherein there is a large scope, even knowledge of the person about the consequence. His intention is different, but his knowledge about the consequence is also taken into the consideration. Okay, so when the consequence of his act can cause death of any other person or cause bodily injuries which are likely to cause death, it will constitute the intention of causing death of that person. The intention may not be determined but may be derived from the awareness of the accused with the respect of the consequence of his act or omission. From the case of Basdev versus state of Pepsu, The court distinguished the intention with knowledge and states that knowledge is an awareness of the consequence of the act. In many cases, intention and knowledge merge into each other and mean the same thing, more or less. An intention can be presumed from the knowledge. The demarcating line between the knowledge and intention is no doubt thin, but it is not difficult to perceive that they connotes different things. Thus, it depends upon the guilty mind of the accused to be aware or have knowledge that his act would have consequences which are highly probable that it would cause death of the person. Having knowledge needs to have the intention of doing that, and intention with the knowledge that you are going to do a particular thing, an act which may cause the death of the person, will be counted under section 299. You may take the illustration as given in your book. A, by shooting a fowl with intent to kill and steal it, kills B, who is behind a bush. A, not knowing that he was there, here, although A was doing an unlawful act, he was guilty of culpable homicide, as he did not intend to kill B or cause death. He was not guilty of culpable homicide, as he did not intend to kill B or cause death by doing an act that he knew would likely to cause death. Here the intention was of stealing something else but not killing someone. Okay. Here you can also take an example of a tantric, okay, who has beaten a girl to remove her of the ill effect of the ghost. His intention was to remove the ill effect of the ghost, and he has beaten her. However, she died because of the because of the injury that was inflicted to her by the tantric. In that case, the tantric was guilty of culpable homicide. Now coming to section 300, which deals with murder. Section 300 is read as, except in the case hereinafter accepted, culpable homicide is a murder if the act by which the death is caused is done with the intention of causing death, or if it is done with the intention of causing such bodily injury as the offender knows to be likely to cause the death of the person to whom the harm is caused. Third, if it is done with the intention of causing bodily injury to any person and the bodily injury intended to be inflicted is sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause death. And fourth, if the person committing the act knows that it is so immensely dangerous that it must in all probability cause death or such bodily injury as is likely to cause death, and commits such act without any excuse for incurring the risk or causing death of or such injury as aforesaid. So here from these 4 points you are able to understand the essential elements of section 300. First statement states that except in the cases hereinafter accepted, culpable homicide is a murder if these 4 conditions or any of these 4 conditions are being fulfilled. The first essential element under subsection 1 of section 300 is that the cause relating to the death of culpable homicide is murder if the act by which the death is caused is done with the intention of causing death. Here you may take the illustration that A shoots Z with the intention of killing him. Z dies in consequence. A has committed murder. To get more understanding to it, you may refer to the case Subedar Tiwari versus State of Uttar Pradesh. A woman was killed and the husband and his sister were prosecuted. The facts of the case are, one morning the milkman came and called, then the door was opened, the woman was found burned in the kitchen, and the evidence was that the husband neither entered the kitchen nor he tried to flame his wife. In the kitchen an unused stove was found. However, there was no matchstick over there. The woman was lying in the same position though huge flames were seen. On the body of the victim, there were 3 injury marks, and around her there were some letters which she had written to her father. Thus, it was concluded that it is not the case of suicide but the case of murder, as there was an intention of causing death. Coming to the second essentials under subsection 2 of section 300, causing with the intention such bodily injury as the offender knows to be likely to cause the death of the person to whom the harm is caused. Then the accused will be guilty of murder. Here you may have the look at the illustration. A. Knowingly that Z is laboring under such a disease that a blow is likely to cause his death, strikes him with the intention of causing bodily injury. Z dies in consequence of the blow that was given to him by A. Here A is guilty of murder, although the blow might not have been sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause the death of a person in a sound state of health. But if A, knowingly that Z is laboring under any disease, gives him such a blow as would not in ordinary course of nature kill a person in a sound state of health, here A, although he might have intended to cause bodily injury, would be not guilty of murder if he did not intend to cause death, or such bodily injury as in ordinary course of nature would cause death. Here it is important to note that when any act is likely to occur, it can be said that it is most probable. But when the accused knows that the injury is probable, then it is not culpable homicide. So if A knew that Z is suffering from any disease and such a blow may cause his death or any bodily injury that may cause his death, then in that case A would be committing the offense of murder. Coming to the next essentials, that is the third essential, causing such bodily injury if it is done with the intention of inflicting as it is sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause death, like shooting from pistol, which is deemed as sufficient means to cause death. Okay. Illustration to section 300. A attacks the victim with a sword or stick, causing injury in such a manner which in ordinary course of nature can cause death to any human being, and as a result B dies. A is guilty of murder unless it is proved that he had no intention of causing death. Coming to the fourth essential, that is subclause 4 of section 300, which states that what if the person committing the act knows that it is so eminently dangerous that it might in all probability cause death, such bodily injury as is likely to cause death, and commits such act without any excuse for incurring the risk of causing death or such injury as aforesaid. You may have a look at the illustration. A, without any excuse, fires a loaded cannon into a crowd of a person and kills one of them. Here A is guilty of murder, although he may not have premeditated design to kill any particular individual. But he knows that his act is eminently dangerous, and that is the reason it is coming under section 300, that is murder. Now coming to the exceptions under section 300. The exceptions given under 300 gives an understanding as to when can culpable homicide does not amount to murder. Earlier we were studying what is amounting to murder. Now it is the culpable homicide does not amount to murder. Every case of murder can fall under any of the 5 exceptions as provided in this section. The following are the exceptions. The first is grave and sudden provocation. When culpable homicide is not murder, culpable homicide is not murder if the offender was deprived of the power of self-control by grave or sudden provocation, causes death of the person who gave the provocation, or causes the death of any other person by mistake or avoidance. The above exception is subject to following provisions. Okay, like the grave and sudden provocations, they are subject to the following provisions, through which the benefit of grave and sudden provocation as an exception cannot be availed. Firstly, that the provocation is not sought or voluntarily provoked by the offender as an excuse for killing or doing harm on any other person. If I am doing certain thing and the other person, because of my act, is using a word which is provoking me, then in that case I won't be coming under this section. Secondly, that the provocation is not given by anything done in obedience to law or by a public servant in the lawful exercise of power of such public servant. Third, that the provocation is not given by anything done in lawful exercise of the right of private defense. Here the explanation whether the provocation was grave or sudden enough to prevent the offence from amounting to murder is the question of fact. For better understanding, the case law may be referred as Ajit Singh versus State of Punjab. In this case, the accused has seen his wife with his neighbor in a compromising position. This is a situation of grave and sudden provocation, and because of which he immediately shot the neighbor dead. So it is an exception coming under section 300. Illustration: Y gives grave and sudden provocation to A. A on this provocation fires a pistol at Y, neither intending nor knowing himself to be likely to kill Z, who is near him. But out of sight, A kills Z. Here A has not committed the murder, but it is a culpable homicide as it is coming under the exception 1 of section 300. Talking about exception 2, which deals with private defense. Exception 2 under subsection exception 2 of section 300 is read as exceeding the right of private defense. Culpable homicide is not murder if the offender, in the exercise of good faith of the right of private defense of the person or property, exceeds the power given to him by law and causes the person against whom he is exercising such right of defense without premeditating and without any intention of doing more harm than is necessary for the purpose of such defense. Here you may look to an illustration that Z attempts to horsewhip A, not in such a manner as to cause grievous hurt to A. A draws out a pistol. Z persists in the assault. A, believing in good faith that he can by no other means prevent himself from being her whipped, shoots Z dead. A has not committed murder, but it is only a culpable homicide. But to come under exception 2, certain conditions has to be fulfilled. The first condition is that the right of private defense should have been exercised, as I have stated in the illustration that A has used his private defense because he was in good faith, thought that he has no other option. Second, the right should be exercised without ill will. Third, the right should be exercised without prior thought, that I was aware that something is going to take place and then I'll be using this thing as a private defense, and because of my private defense I'll be killing that person. So here I'm having a ill will as well as I have a prior thought. So if these two things are there, then I will be getting the exception under section 300. Fourth, the right should have been exercised with the intention to cause hurt, because unless and until if I am using my private defense to stop that person and for stopping that person I need to hurt that person, then in that case I would be coming under this exception. Fifth, there should be encroachment over the right of private defense. If all these conditions are fulfilled, then in that case I'll be able to take the benefit of exception 2 of section 300, that is murder, through which the culpable homicide will not amount to murder and the punishment will be given of culpable homicide. Coming to exception 3, which is talking about the acts of public servant. Exception 3, culpable homicide is not murder if the offender, being a public servant or aiding a public servant acting for the advancement of public justice, exceeds the power given to him by law and causes death by doing an act which he in good faith believes to be lawful and necessary for the due discharge of his duty as such public servant, and without ill will towards the person whose death is caused. So from this, the conditions that can be drawn to come under exception 3 is that the person who has exceeded his authority should be a public servant and assistant to a public servant. Second, that such use of power should have been exercised or executed without any ill will in discharge of his duty. Third, the death should have been caused without any intention of causing that particular person's death. In case of Dhaki versus State, a policeman arrested a person mistaking him to be a thief. While taking that person in the jeep, the person tried to run away by jumping from the jeep. The police officer, in order to prevent him from running away, fired the person, and that person died because of that injury. Here in this case, it was held that the police officer was guilty of culpable homicide not amounting to murder, because the thing that he has done was fulfilling the conditions of exception 3. That means he has exceeded his authority as a public servant, and without an ill will to serve his public duty, he has done a particular act. So he will be getting this exception, through which his act will be counted as culpable homicide and it will not be counted as murder. Now coming to the exception 4, which deals with sudden fight. A culpable homicide is not a murder if it is committed without premeditation in a sudden fight, in the heat of passion, upon a sudden quarrel, and without the offender having taken undue advantage or acted in a cruel or unusual manner. Okay, so for this thing, the following conditions has to be fulfilled, and if these conditions are not being fulfilled, you are not getting the benefit of exception 4. The conditions are that the fight should be sudden, not pre-planned one. Second, the fight should be without any prior meeting of the minds, that is without any planning. Third, the fight should be with the deceased person. Fourth, that the accused should not have exhibited any show of cruelty or obtain any undue profit. Okay. Now coming to section 5, which exception 5, which talks about the consent. Culpable homicide is not murder when the person whose death is caused by being above the age of 18 years suffers death or takes the risk of death with his own consent. So here the conditions are that the deceased must have given his permission. Second, that the deceased must be above the age of 18 years, that he should be major. Third, that such consent should have been obtained freely without any coercion. Here, taking an example, if a person appeared in class 10th thrice without success, he was depressed and he expressed his intention of committing suicide to his wife, who was at the age of 19 years. Wife said and expressed her willingness to die before her husband. Accordingly, the accused first murdered his wife or killed his wife, and after that he tried to kill himself or commit suicide, but he was saved. Later on it was held that the accused was guilty of culpable homicide not amounting to murder, as the wife has given the consent. Now coming to the difference between section 299 and 300. There is no hard and fast or mathematical rule to differentiate between section 299 and 300. It is basically on smaller, very slight difference between them. Okay. As stated earlier and in detail, section 299 deals with culpable homicide and section 300 deals with murder. Going with section 299, it states that whoever causes death by doing an act with the intention of causing death, whereas section 300 starts with except in the cases hereinafter accepted, culpable homicide is a murder if the act by which the death is caused is done. Coming to the difference, section 299, that is the culpable homicide, states that the act done with the intention of causing death. Here it is talking about the intention of causing death. Coming to section 300, it states that the death is caused is done with the intention of causing death. Now both of them are talking about the intention of causing death. So now both the sections are talking about the intention, and hence it is creating confusion as to know what is the difference between section 299 and 300, that is difference between the culpable homicide and murder. Here you need to pay attention to section 300, which starts with except in the cases hereinafter accepted, culpable homicide is a murder. Okay, so what it basically means, that exceptions, apart from the exceptions given under section 300, the act of killing a human being would be considered as murder. So what are the exceptions? Every act of killing a human being or a human life is counted as murder. But if it is coming under the exceptions given under section 300, then it will be counted as culpable homicide rather than murder. But here you need to have an intention to kill. Simple example I can give you is on sudden provocation, wherein you are being suddenly provoked. A has seen his wife in a compromising position with the neighbor. Here, because of that sudden provocation, he has an intention to kill the neighbor. He shot him dead. Here also he was having an intention to kill the person. And definition of section 300 is also talking about the intention of killing the person. And section 299 is also talking about with the intention of killing the person. Here the intention was to kill the person and he has killed the person. But what was the reason? The reason was sudden provocation, which is coming under the exceptions of section 300. Similarly, the exception talks about the right to private defense. In this case, if in the exercise of private defense, if someone is going to kill me with a knife, I got a pistol, I tried to shoot him on his head or on his hand, and because he moved, he thought that I'll be shooting on his head. He moved on the other side, which resulted in the shooting of the bullet on his head, and he died. Here, my intention was to cause injury. I had an intention. Why? Because I was using my private defense, but I exceeded my private defense. So here, I won't be counted as I have committed the offense of murder, but it will be counted as I have committed the offense of culpable homicide. Similarly, as stated before, if another exception given is public servant or any person who is assisting the public servant in the power or in the right or in the duty In that case, if they are exceeding the power, as I have given the illustration wherein the police officer mistakenly thought that A is a thief, he took that person, he arrested that person, and while taking him to the custody, the person tried to escape. Now, as it is the lawful duty of the police officer to try to catch hold the thief and not allow the accused to abscond or run away, by using that power, he tried to shoot that person on his leg, which mistakenly got on his head and he died. Here too, the police officer, because as it is coming under the exception of section 300, he would be counted as that he has done an act which is coming under the culpable homicide, and it is not the act of murder. So now I think the difference between 299 and 300 is clear on the basis of the intention. The word intention is being used under section 299, that is culpable homicide, as well as under 300, with the use of intention, under which circumstances it will be counted as culpable homicide, and 300 is being cleared from the exceptions given under section 300. Okay. So the first difference between section 299 and 300 is the intention. Coming to the second difference, section 299 states that with the intention of causing such bodily injury as is likely to cause death. Coming to the section 300, under 300, second point पे, if it is done with the intention of causing such bodily injury as the offender knows to be likely to cause the death of the person to whom the harm is caused. Okay, so section 299 is saying with the intention of causing such bodily injury as is likely to cause death. Taking an example, I don't know, person A and person B are the friends. Okay, person B is suffering from certain kind of disease which I am not aware about, and as a friend I have given a blow on his back. Okay, we were having a fight, and in fight I have given a blow on his back. When I'm saying likely to cause death, so it must be a blow as hard कि उसको कुछ ना कुछ injury हो जाए. Okay, so if that person is suffering certain injury because of it, that means it is causing certain harm. Normally, if I am tapping on someone's back, no one is getting any injury because of it. But if the force is such through which he might get an injury which might result to his death, or if I know that this joint, if I hit on this joint in a particular way, then an injury may take place. Okay, so hitting on the backbone with the hand is a different thing, and hitting on the backbone or the neck with a hockey stick, which is likely to cause death. Okay, hockey stick, with using the hockey stick, if I am trying to hit someone on the back or on the neck, there is a chance that the person may die if the backbone is broken, or if that force is too much for the bone or the neck to bear. So section 300, 200, 299 is talking about intention of causing such bodily injury as is likely to cause death. Here I am trying to cause injury. Remember that. Section 299 is talking about causing injury. Now coming to section 300, where it states that if it is done with the intention of causing such bodily injury as the offender knows to be likely to cause the death of the person to whom the harm is caused. Take that example wherein my friend is suffering from certain kind of disease through which if I use a force on his back, he may die because of that force. I am aware of it, and then too if I am using it, then I am coming under section 300. Okay, I hope it is clear. So the second difference basically talks about the knowledge of the offender. In the first, in 299, that is culpable homicide, I am not aware that using a particular technique or hitting at a particular place may cause the death of the person. I am using it to cause the injury. In 300 or in murder, I am aware and I know that if I use a force at a particular place, the death may take place. So here the knowledge or the awareness of the offender is the second point of difference. I hope with this the culpable homicide and the murder is the topic is clear to you all. And apart from that, the difference, if you have any question, you may just ask me. I'm here to answer your queries. Okay. Then comes the third difference, that is the punishment. Punishment for murder is given under section 302, which is the punishment with death or imprisonment for life and shall also be liable for fine. When coming to the punishment for culpable homicide not amounting to murder, that is the punishment for section 299, the offense under section 299, it is given under section 304, which states that whoever commits culpable homicide not amounting to murder shall be punished with imprisonment for life or life imprisonment or imprisonment for either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable for fine if act by which the death is caused is done with the intention of causing death or of causing such bodily injury as is likely to cause death. So if you're having an intention of causing death or causing such bodily injury, then the punishment will be for life or which may extend to either description for 10 years and shall also be liable for fine. But the imprisonment would be for the either description for a term which may extend to 10 years or or with with fine or with both if the act is done with the knowledge that it is likely to cause death but without any intention of causing death. Okay, so I hope the entire topic of section 299 and 300 as well as the punishment and difference is clear to you all. Thank you.